February 3rd, 2026, Dover, Kent. A family of four, Mark and Sarah Thompson, with their two young children, have been on the NHS waiting list for a council house for 3 years. 3 years. They're currently living in a cramped one-bedroom flat, kids sharing a sofa bed. Last week, they drove past their local Holiday Inn. It's been turned into migrant accommodation. 450 people, full board, security, healthcare on site. Mark told a local reporter, "I've worked and paid taxes for 20 years. My kids are British citizens, but somehow we're at the back of the queue." This isn't a story from some tabloid. This is happening right now across Britain. And today, I'm going to show you the numbers that politicians desperately don't want you to see. I'm James Mitchell. Let's talk about Britain's immigration crisis. Let's start with the facts. Real facts, not spin, not propaganda. In 2025, over 52,000 people crossed the English Channel in small boats. That's not a typo. 52,000. That's roughly the population of a town like Dartford. But here's what they don't tell you on the BBC. That number is up 34% from 2024. The government promised to stop the boats. Instead, they're arriving faster than ever. Each crossing costs the UK taxpayer an average of £3 million per day. Not per year, per day. That's for border force operations, rescues, processing, accommodation. Over £1 billion annually, just on small boat crossings. Now, where are these people going? Currently, the Home Office has block booked over 400 hotels across the UK. The cost? £8 million per day. That's nearly £3 billion a year just for hotel accommodation. Meanwhile, British councils are going bankrupt. Birmingham, the second largest city in the UK, declared bankruptcy in 2023. Nottingham followed. Croydon, Thurrock. The list keeps growing. Services are being slashed, libraries closing, bins not being collected, youth centers shut down. But the hotels? Those are full, paid for, guaranteed.
Now, you might be thinking, wait, didn't the government have a plan? What about Rwanda? Yes. The Rwanda scheme. Let me tell you about one of the most expensive failures in British political history. The UK government spent £290 million, let me say that again, £290 million on the Rwanda deportation scheme. How many people were actually sent to Rwanda? 0. Not one single person. The Supreme Court blocked it. Human rights lawyers challenged it. And Keir Starmer, when he became Prime Minister, scrapped it entirely within weeks. £290 million. For nothing. That's £290 million that could have built 1,400 new council homes. It could have hired 8,000 additional nurses. It could have funded 12 new secondary schools. Instead, it paid for a policy that never happened. And the boats? Still coming. Every single day. Now here's where it gets personal for ordinary British people. The NHS is already on its knees. 7.6 million people are on waiting lists. That's 1 in 9 people in this country waiting for treatment. GP appointments in some areas are taking 6 weeks to book. 6 weeks. For a 10-minute appointment. Now add hundreds of thousands of new arrivals needing healthcare. The system can't cope. Schools in areas like Kent, Dover, and coastal towns are suddenly dealing with children who don't speak English. Teachers aren't trained for this. Classrooms are overcrowded. British kids are falling behind because resources are stretched so thin. And housing? Don't even get me started. There are 1.2 million families on social housing waiting lists. People waiting years, sometimes a decade, for a council house. But when migrants arrive, they get accommodation immediately. Hotels. Temporary housing. Priority. Now, I want to be very clear here. This isn't the fault of the migrants themselves. They're doing what any of us would do, trying to find a better life. This is a failure of government. A failure of leadership. A failure to control borders, plan resources, and be honest with the British people. And when ordinary British citizens raise these concerns, they're called racist, bigoted, far-right. That's not a debate. That's a shutdown. And it's destroying trust in our entire political system. So why is this happening? Why can't Britain control its own borders? 3 reasons. First, international law. The European Convention on Human Rights means the UK has limited power to deport people once they arrive on British soil. Lawyers exploit every loophole. Cases drag on for years. Second, France isn't helping. Despite the UK paying France hundreds of millions to patrol their beaches, the boats still launch. Why? Because France wants them gone too. It's easier to let them cross than deal with them. Third, and this is the big one, there is no legal route for most asylum seekers to claim asylum in the UK. You cannot apply from Calais. You cannot apply from France. The only way in? Get on a boat. So we've created a system where the ONLY option for desperate people is to break the law. And criminal gangs are making billions from this. Billions. Meanwhile, the British government is stuck. Courts block deportations. International law limits options. And public anger grows every single day. Keir Starmer promised to smash the gangs. It's been months. The gangs are richer than ever. Let me show you what British people actually think. A recent poll showed 76% of Britons, that's 3 in 4 people, want stricter immigration controls. Not far-right extremists. Not racists. Ordinary people. 68% believe immigration is too high. And here's the kicker, 52% of Labour voters, the party currently in power, think Starmer is handling immigration badly. This isn't a left vs right issue anymore. This is a competence issue. I've read hundreds of comments from British people online. Nurses, teachers, pensioners, parents. People who voted Labour their whole lives. People who consider themselves tolerant and compassionate. And they're saying the same thing, enough. We can't sustain this. They're not asking for zero immigration. They're asking for control. For fairness. For a government that puts British citizens first. And right now, they are not getting it. So here's my question to you. When does this end? When do we get honest leadership? When does the government stop calling concerned citizens bigots and start actually solving the problem? I don't have all the answers. But I know this, ignoring it won't make it go away. The British people deserve better. What do you think the solution is? Should we leave international treaties? Process claims offshore? Increase deportations? I want to hear from you or drop your thoughts in the comments. If you want more honest breakdowns of UK politics without the mainstream media spin, hit subscribe. I'm James Mitchell, and I'll see you in the next one.